I would say during the summer of 2020, I was just looking at myself and I was like, yo, what is this, man? My shirts are too tight. The shape of my body is just, and it's like I look like a
Yeah.
pear, you know? So I didn't like it. So that specific event, when I look at myself in the mirror, kind of sparked it up.
Hi, my name is Shelomo Solson. I'm the host of Dreamers University. The first and third Tuesday of every month, I'm going to provide you with an episode filled with inspiring stories and practical tips to help you live your dream life. I'm going to do so all under 30 minutes. If you want to commit to achieving your dreams, go ahead, subscribe to this podcast, and enjoy this episode. Hey, Dreammakers, welcome to another episode of Dreamers University. This is your host, Shlomo Solson. Today, I have a special guest with me. He's been a friend for about a few years now since I started Teenage Impact. I did one interview with him before. His name is Guti, and Guti is a creator with over 1.5 million TikTok followers. He has 58 million likes and 500 million views. He is the co-founder and creative director of Brand Social, which helps businesses grow on social media. Guti is going to discuss his professional, financial, mental, and physical transformation these past couple of years. So on top of his transformation, he's going to be talking about how to build discipline, how to change your life, and how you can also build a social media following. How's it going, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you very much. How about you?
I'm good, man. Goody, I'm gonna tell you, we've known each other for about a few years. I found you on TikTok when I first opened my other podcast, Teenage Impact, and you were doing amazing things. I think at that point you had about 200,000 or 300,000 followers at that point, but you looked completely different. You felt completely different. How do you feel right now? Like, how is the old Goody versus the new Goody?
Oh man, completely different, man. It's crazy. Obviously back then I had a different mentality about things. I was a bit younger, so I was trying to it was kind of a shift, right? TikTok um kind of helped me shift my way from going from a boy and starting to becoming a man, right? It's been like 4 years since then. So um I would say one of the first things that have changed is my mentality about discipline, right? How to build things in life, and obviously I went through a physical fitness journey that where I lost 40 pounds. So the way I got through it, actually, my success on TikTok kind of built a certain a base for everything that I do in my life, right? I was doing 4, 5 videos a day, right? For
Wow.
I think 7, 8 months, every single
Mhm.
day I was in my parents' basement. I was just like grinding it, grinding. And so when it came to set other goals for my life, I simply took the same formula, which is wake up every day, make a list of the things that you want to do, and simply do them. Whether you want to do them or not, you just do it, kind of like fuck your feelings and just go with the plan. The plan is more important than how you feel that day sometimes. And so that's what I did, but it's working pretty well in all areas in my life.
Before, did you go to the gym at all, or was it once in a while and then all of a sudden you went all in, or did you completely change your life? Like, what sparked that transformation for you? Was there a
Um,
specific event, or was it a series of
yeah.
events?
So there were two specific events that triggered my physical transformation. The first one, I always been a confident person. I always kind of like liked myself, and that comes from my mother side. My mom has always been a very confident person, and she's always showed me about like self love and all that
Hmm.
stuff. So I never had a problem of like looking at myself and without being overconfident, just being like, you know what, I like myself. Like fuck it, like no matter what my defaults are, you know what, I'm content with whatever God gave me. But it came to a point where I don't know, I was just looking in the mirror and I was like, yo, this is not me, man. Like, I had like, not to say like it wasn't a personal choice, but I was looking at myself and my clothes didn't fit the same way as they used to, and I've always been a sports person, right? Ever since I'm I think 9 years old, I always been playing sports, always was in shape. So I was used to seeing myself in a certain way, but I would say during the summer of 2020, I was just looking at myself and I was like, yo, what is this, man? My shirts are too tight. The shape of my body is just, and it's like I look like a
Yeah.
pear. So I didn't like it. So that specific event, when I look at myself in the mirror, kind of sparked it up. And the second one was when I was playing basketball with one of my childhood friends, and then I got injured, and my knee popped. And that night, I went to the emergency just to get that check to see what was going on and all that. And nothing crazy happened, but I had to walk into how you call that how you call those two things that you put on your,
I
like
know
when
what
you
you're
put
talking about. It's like
something
a
else.
walker.
Yeah, a walker. So that was the
Yeah.
last straw, and I was just like, okay, this is horrible. I cannot. I was looking at myself and I just looked weak, man. And I was like, I don't like this. You know what? God gave me good health and made me a strong
Yeah.
man. So you know what? Let me just put that shit to use. TikTok is doing good. Let me change my physical appearance and go back to who I love being, which is being a guy in shape. I love going to
W-
the gym.
What
I
was your schedule like? Are you a morning person where you
Yeah.
work out in the morning or you work out after work?
So when I started that journey, um, I'm a morning person, but
Hmm.
because of my food habits back then and all that stuff, everything was messed up, man. My anxiety was over the roof. Everything was just off, man. So um, I would work out around 1 or 2 because I would wake up around like 11, 12. It
Wow.
was messed up. Yeah. It was really messed up, and because everything I was doing was through TikTok, I didn't really need a schedule. Which later on I found out like it's terrible. Like you need a
Hmm.
schedule for yourself and as a human being. But I was working out whenever I wanted to. It was literally my I didn't have any schedule at all. It was really like just wake up. What do you feel like doing right now? But I had a workout plan, which is like,
Hmm.
okay, on Monday you have to do this, Tuesday you have to do this, Wednesday, because lucky me, one of my childhood friends, he's a personal trainer. So when I started working out, just like lifting the weights, he saw that on my story. He was like, "Yo, I want to help you out." So he came home, gave me a whole speech on why I should actually keep going with this journey, and then he gave me a workout plan. Until this day, man, 2 years later, he's been doing that for me. Like
Hmm.
we,
And how are like I know you're pretty busy. Now you're a
yeah,
full-time creator and full-time entrepreneur, but at
yeah,
one point you had about 3 jobs. You had
yeah.
about you were creating, or you took a little break from creating, and then you had a couple more jobs on top of that, and on top of that you were going through your physical transformation. How were you able to keep up that schedule? Like what can someone else do who just doesn't have the time?
To be honest, that was a bit crazy on my end because I really kind of you know, yes, the content was doing great. Yes, physically I was at that point I had lost my 40 pounds that I wanted to lose, and but I wanted to financially strive. So I was like, you know what, let me just go all in the same way. So obviously with content creation is very competitive, but the thing with TikTok is, yes, you can make a good living with sponsors, but my goal was really to make 6 figures, right?
Hmm.
And I was making 6 figures with TikTok. I think at that point I was with an agency, and the contract for the year was for 50,000, which is a good salary. But you need to invest in your content, and personally, I was like, this is not working for me. This is not the money that I want.
Hmm.
It's not gonna allow me to go further. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just put TikTok to the side for now, and just let me get 3 jobs so I can make that six figure salary. So that's what I did. I had a job from 7 to 2. Then I had another job from I think it was 4.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry. No, at that point, 7 to 2, and then the other job was at 5 to 10 or 11, something like
Wow.
that. And then on the
Okay.
weekends, I was gonna work also at a coffee shop. So I was like, yo, let me just go all in. Um, but obviously my workout routine suffered a bit because I didn't really have any time off. I had
Mm-hmm.
I was full time on all the jobs. So I would have on the weekends, because it was a coffee shop, I would be able to go after work, and then I
Okay.
would try to like fit in a third workout throughout the week. But that
Okay.
didn't last long because throughout that journey, that's where I found out that I could actually build a business, um, that where I could actually do social media for other businesses. So
So
that
at that
journey,
time you were working out like I would say 3 times a week,
yeah, 3 times a week, and
which
sometimes I
isn't
would,
which isn't too bad, like
no, no, it isn't
some
that bad.
people 3 times a week. People gotta realize 3 times a week is still better than not working out at all,
Yeah, absolutely.
depending on
Well,
what's
it's
going
either
on in
three
your
to
life.
five apparently. So
Hmm.
yeah, it isn't that bad. Yeah,
What does discipline mean to you?
doing whatever the plan is, regardless of how you feeling.
Okay,
Really,
and
that's what I feel about it.
do you have 3 steps on how someone can build discipline?
Um, the best way to build discipline is really find the reason of your goal. You need
Hmm.
to have a reason. You need to stick to it. Always. When I started, I actually I had a big whiteboard that I put on my wall, and then
Hmm.
I wrote the main reason I wanted to lose weight is simply, well, it was two things. First of all, I wanted to look good again, and second of all, it was because of my health, right?
Okay.
I didn't want to go back to whatever happened that summer where I was just fat and injured. I can understand injuries can happen, but it was a bit too much for me. Those were my two main reasons, and I put it on my whiteboard, and I would track my days every single day. Like how much I weigh,
Hmm.
what I did that day, how I felt. So that's one way you can start about it. The second step is, once you found the will, it's really battling the demons, and it's understanding that every single day you're gonna have a demon being like, hey, like, you shouldn't do it, you should do this instead, or you know what, relax, you can take
Hmm.
a break, or so really understanding that the job isn't really on the field, but it's really in the
In your
mind.
mind.
um that's where the battle starts. And third of all, just enjoy it. Don't take it too serious. I mean, on my end, I know I'm not trying to be Mr. Olympia. So when I go to the gym, I'm just
Yeah.
even if I'm tired or whatever, I'm just like, you know what, let me just find a way of enjoying this thing.
Hmm.
Just understand that it's not that serious because you're doing it every day. So every day you get a chance of improving yourself, or finding ways to make yourself better. So don't knock on your head too much.
So to build discipline, you're saying find your why, number one, or your will, a reason why you're doing something. Number two, um, expand on your mindset. You talk about the mind and pushing your mind. What do you mean by that?
The mind is very very much where everything begins.
Hmm.
So whenever you have a goal, and this isn't everything, business, relationships, there's always, I would say, like, I call them demons, but it's really like negative
Hmm.
thoughts, um where you're supposed to do something, or you have to do something, but you don't do it because there's a voice in your head that's telling you
So
otherwise.
true. Hmm.
Maybe you should tell something to your partner, your wife, right? Or your girlfriend at that point. It's like, I should maybe let her know about this. But then your mind is like, oh, never mind. It's not that important, right? And
Hmm.
you let it slide. And then eventually that thing becomes worse. Maybe you should, there's something that you have to do in your business, right? That it's like, yo, you have to do it. Then your brain is like, oh, you know what? It's not that important, anyways. No one cares. Or, you know what? Anyways, you're not that good at it. So then you put it off. And then, like 10 days later, you just start having regret because you're like, oh my God, I should have done it back when I had to do it. The same thing with working out, where it's like most people want to work out, but then they have this voice in their head where it's like, oh, you know what? you know what, you worked hard this week, you're working more than 40 hours a week, you know what, put it off, just relax.
Just enjoy.
It's not going to change anything if you go today, but the reality is it does, because it's a compound.
It's
Everything
a
in life
compound.
is a compound. If you put it off today, it's a small step that could have built some momentum for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If and then tomorrow, and the thing is, it works in opposite way. Now, instead of building positive momentum, you're building negative momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So because you put it off, then tomorrow you have a momentum to put it off again, because you're like, yo, you know what, if I don't do it today, it's not going to change anything. Well, if you don't do it tomorrow, it's not going to change anything either. But if you did it today, then it would have changed how you think tomorrow, because you
Mm-hmm.
would have done it.
Very
And
true.
then there's something in your mind that would have pushed you to maybe go to the gym tomorrow again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I see everything. Whenever I feel like putting something off, it's like, oh no, like no, no, no worries. I don't have to do it today. I can do it tomorrow. I'm like, yo, like, you can't think like that, because you're stopping yourself from greatness.
So
You just lost a day, you're never gonna get back.
it's
So
kind
that's
of
what.
like I talk about this in one of my episodes, my solo episodes. It's kind of like compound interest. It's kind of like
Yeah,
money. You put a little bit of money every single month towards your retirement. It's going to compound over time. The same thing goes with habits. If you can't go to the gym 7 days or 5 days a week, start with 1 day a week. Start with 15 minutes a day. Do a little bit every time, and eventually you're going to build your confidence. You're going to build those habits over time. Eventually, what you're doing now is going to affect you positively or negatively 2 3 months from now, then a year from now, then 2 years from now. So whatever success or failures you're going through right now, it's based off of the habits that you've had in the past several months or past several
absolutely.
years. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
building discipline, you said, find your why, push your mind to do the things that you don't want to do, and enjoy the process.
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah,
Perfect. I love that. I think anyone can use those three steps in any aspect in their life, whether it's physical transformation, financial transformation, career transformation. And I know with me, with my podcast, because I do work 8 to 6, I just do 1 to 2 hours on my podcast every single day. And most people think that you need to all of a sudden like transform your life completely, and you need to make big changes right away, when in reality it's just the small things that you do every day.
yeah, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And what's the crazy part, and something I found out, now that I'm in business, is that, a lot of the times when you start, sorry, a lot of the times when you start, a side hustle, or
Mm-hmm.
any type of venture outside of the regular job, often, like, I had this mentality where it was like, yo, I need to make it big. It has to be big.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a side venture, I need to make at least, I don't know, like 50,000, 100,000. But reality is, you can just, like, the same way you should start going to the gym if you don't have time just once a week. It's the same thing with business, where it's like, just start by getting $100 a week,
Mm-hmm.
on the side. Just start by that. And then, like you're saying, compound interest. Okay, now I have 100. How do I get to 100? How do I get 400? 800, 1,000, 2,000? It's the same concept. I think a lot of the times people set the bar way too high, when
Mm-hmm.
they haven't even, you need a certain kind of experience on the field to, go up the levels. So whatever you're doing, just set yourself a low bar. Just, okay, let me get, I don't know, $10 a day on the side hustle. Then,
Mm-hmm.
go up, and you go up and go up, and at some point, it doesn't need to be this year or next year, but at some point over the years, you're going to be able to quit your job. But because you did
Mm-hmm.
it every day and did it consistently, and you stuck to the plan, and you didn't, go too crazy on, like, oh, I need to make it, I need to get that 100K right now. Now you don't work for anybody anymore. But it's the same thing with the gym, where it's like, you go every day. After a month, you're like, yo, I don't notice much change. I know I've lost weight, but I don't really see my muscles. Then the
Mm-hmm.
second month, you're like, oh, I see a little bit of difference. Third month, it's like, oh, okay. 4 or 5 months, the same thing. You don't see shit. But then after a year, 2 years, 3 years, you look at yourself, you look back, and you're just like, holy shit, my body is completely different. But you simply stuck to the small workouts, 1 hour workout every single day, you know?
Mhm.
So
Tony Robbins, famous self-help guru, and I went to one of his seminars about a few years ago. He says people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they could do in 10 years.
absolutely. That's a good quote right there. It's
Man, I
exactly it.
love that quote. But let's move on to, your TikTok journey. And
Yeah.
why self-help? Like what sparked you to start making these motivational and self-help videos?
I think it's just part of who I am.
Hmm.
I'm a motivational dude by nature at this point. I just, I have an optimistic view on life rather than pessimistic. And I don't know. It's just I would say it's natural. I didn't grow up with the most optimistic parents or the most optimistic surrounding, but um I think unconsciously, throughout my life, I've always gone through these moments that I've
Hmm.
written in these kids, right? And I've always tried to take have a positive output from every situation that I've had, no matter how bad or how tough it would get. I would always try to see the light at the end of the day. And so when it comes to, writing for TikTok, I simply apply the same mentality, but I think it's just part of who I am. I love storytelling. I'm gonna say, like, I love being in my zone and just taking some
Hmm.
time apart and just writing these scripts, knowing that there's people enjoying it. It just makes me so happy because it's something I've been writing since I'm 14, right? So I
Hmm.
never really had an audience. So TikTok was really the first platform who was like, oh shit, this is good.
And you've
But
been
yeah,
doing it. I mean, you've been putting up videos for a while.
yeah,
I
three
mean,
years, 3 4 years now.
through 3 4 years that you've been popping off, but
Oh
you
yeah,
didn't pop off before. Didn't you do it
no,
for several years?
yeah,
And you had several different accounts and
yeah,
nothing was working.
yeah.
What's the difference of your content that was not working and the content that is working?
I think the main difference, because now that I'm doing it for other businesses too, I get a better outlook on like what really why my thing works, and it works at a massive level like that, where it's like millions of people are just watching it, and why other people doesn't really work for them. I think it's I think it's is three things. The first one is it's how relatable I try to
Mhm.
be. When I write, I honestly try to create characters that are, that people can look at and feel like, oh yeah, I've been through this
That's
shit.
me. Mhm.
I've been through it. I've been through it, and I can look at this and see myself in this short film or skit, whatever they want to call
Mhm.
it. The second thing is how entertaining it is. I really try to make it as entertaining as possible, with all these situations or, a little bit of comedy here and there. So I think people appreciate that because I've seen other people try it, right, and have some success, but it kind of dies off after a while simply
Mhm.
because it's not entertaining enough. There's nothing that really defines them. It's like they have like one good idea and then it just dies off. It's kind of, I think entertainment is a skill that's very underrated on social media. So I think it's entertaining by itself. And the third is the effort. I really put some effort in it. It's not um, whenever I started, it was just me doing all the characters and my tripod, and I
Mhm.
was in my basement. And now it's really like when I do it, it's really like, okay, I look for actors. There's a camera guy. We make all these shots different. We go to different places. We try to make it as aesthetic as possible while keeping it consumable for the platform. I don't go off as much as I would like to go off,
Mhm.
but I try to put the level out there so people see that there's a thought behind it. It's not simply just like, oh, whatever. I just woke up today and started filming whatever.
So relatability, entertainment, and effort.
Yeah,
The REE. The REE mark.
Yeah, you can call it that
Hey man, you can put that into a book right now and just sell it for a course. 9.99. What are some mistakes that you see when people are doing TikTok or different social media channels?
They don't risk it, man. Too many
Hmm.
people want to have this pretty face, this pretty like too much. People want to make their content way too pretty for what it is. You know, I always
Hmm.
say like if you if you wrap shit into beautiful into beautiful wrapping, it's still shit at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So that's what most people do. They make shitty content and then they try to wrap it with all this high valued production or all this high like value marketing. And it's like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, look, we're pretty. And it's like people don't give a fuck. You know, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of content online.
Hmm.
So being pretty, and trust me, like when it comes to like being pretty, it's really hard to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like there's like 0.01% of people who are like pretty enough to make it in that industry, you know.
Yeah. By
So
pretty
everyone,
enough, you mean like they try to make a perfect video before they launch
yeah,
something.
either if you're like a personal brand, I see a lot of
Hmm.
people just picking up their phone and doing the lip sync thing, or
Hmm.
if you're like a business, they try to like merge their marketing, their
Hmm.
traditional marketing into the platform, which is the opposite. You got to throw the traditional
Hmm.
marketing away, and just adapt to the platform and see what happens, right? Because you have to people have to understand TikTok is a new platform, so it's a new way of marketing itself. So
Hmm.
they believe that, you know, a lot of people believe that because they've been in marketing for 30 years that, oh, I know how to do marketing. No, you don't know how to do TikTok or social media marketing because it's changed. You know, there's a
Hmm.
reason why you see people blow up, and you as a marketer of 30 years don't understand it. You know,
Hmm.
if you did understand it, you would have blown up, but you don't.
Hmm.
So you have to adapt. You know, you don't have the ego in the industry of marketing is crazy. Now that I'm working in it, I'm just seeing it. I'm just like, holy
Hmm.
shit. There's a lot of
Now,
work to do there.
I have a couple more questions because I try to keep the interviews under 30 minutes,
Yeah,
but I know you're 1.5 million right now
yeah,
followers, and you want to go to 5 million
yeah,
within the next couple of years. What are you
yeah.
going to do? What are you going to do differently um, eh, for your next 3.5 million versus what you did for your first 1.5?
So the first thing I'm gonna do differently is I'm gonna focus on providing value. So for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for the last 3 years, yes, I've been blowing up, but it was a lot of testing. It was a lot of me like, okay, let me test the
Hmm.
waters to the max, you know, and see what works, what doesn't work for me. What do I like as a person as well? What I like to do on social media? Who do I want to be? What how do I want to portray myself? And I'm listen, like if you look to my account, there's I think 1,000 videos at this point, and although I know what videos work, you will see different type of shit that you're gonna be like, holy shit,
Hmm.
I don't understand why he did this. But everything I did was simply because I was finding myself and
Hmm.
try to see like who do I want to be, how do I want to portray myself. So
Hmm.
now is focusing on my branding. First of all, I'm not focusing on putting as much content right now, but just on the branding. How do I want people to speak about me?
Okay.
So that's one thing. The second thing is building multiple channels. You know, um, like I said, I'm building a podcast that's gonna release soon.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so that's
I
really
can't wait
exciting.
till that's out.
Yeah, man, that's good. That's really exciting, man. So it's a podcast with my business partner who's 64 years old. So it's a dichotomy basically between
Hmm.
being a millennial and a boomer and how we see the world, you know,
Hmm.
today's world from two different lenses, but somehow we get along, you know, between and all this age difference. So
Hmm.
that's pretty interesting as well. The podcast is going to bring a lot of following as well because that's where I'm going to bump the content. That's really where I'm going to be releasing a lot of content from
Hmm.
there. So yeah, those are the two main things that I'm going to be focusing on. I think also something that's going to help is building a community, right? So compared to before, what I didn't really know, and I didn't really know how to like make long-term money with social media, where it's like, okay, I'm a storyteller, I know I want to make movies, I like content, I like marketing, all that stuff, but how do I make something consistent? Well, now because of the podcast, you have a better
Hmm.
structure on, how to, yes, there's sponsorships, we're going to be selling a course that it's going to be based on how to build a business for yourself. And I have the backup now, where it's like the interesting thing, and it's that I'm partnering with someone that has so much experience. He's been a long he's been in the business for a long ass time. He built the first marketing plan in the web in 1995. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So the guy speaks
Like when
about things
Amazon
I'm
got
just like,
started.
I'm just like, okay, yeah. I
Bro,
wasn't even
I
born
feel
yet.
like that's the way to go. Someone who is a creator,
Yeah,
who has, the creative juices and that has
yeah,
a following, partnering with a successful entrepreneur that's been around for a long time. Just imagine like the money you can make if
absolutely.
someone who's creative, someone who has the influence versus someone who has a business experience. Now you can take a business to a whole nother level.
Absolutely, man. And to be honest, I wouldn't be here without his presence.
Hmm.
He's a sales machine, man. I just
Hmm.
watch him go, and the same way you give me a subject and I can create content, the same way you just put him in a room and he's just gonna start selling to anybody. So
Hmm.
he's great at that. He's experienced. He's like, we're like yin and yang. I take care of the creative side, takes care
Hmm.
of the business, and like you said, it's a good team to make,
Hmm.
especially when you're this. I mean, I know I'm 28 now, but I still feel like when I look at people in the industry, and especially when I sit down at these tables with like other businesses, I'm like, oh shit, I'm really young compared to these people, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, man, really exciting stuff. But yeah, releasing consistent content. The same way I got to 1 million followers is the same way I'm gonna get to 5 millions, but it's gonna be
I,
more structured now.
I
I'm
think
I'm
that's
going there
key.
with experience.
That's key. And Goody. So it's been 30 minutes, maybe a little bit over 30 minutes. I'm gonna ask you maybe about like 5 or 6 questions, personal questions. I call this kind of like rapid fire questions, where I ask
Cool.
you something, 1 to 2 sentences, just answer it. It's a way for both your audience members and my audience members to get to know you personally. So you ready?
Cool. Good. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I know you're into scotch. Favorite scotch bottle?
I have it right here in front of me. Lagavulin.
What is it?
Lagavulin.
What inspires you?
What inspires me?
Hmm.
Um, uh, broken people. I want to give them light.
Okay. What's the best piece of business advice you have ever received?
Always agree with your customer.
What's the worst?
um, the worst would be what's the worst one? That's a really good question. What's the worst advice I received from anybody? I don't know. It's not an advice, but it's a behavior I've noticed. Ego.
Okay. Ego. Okay. And last one. What is your dream?
Mm, my final dream. So I always say on my deathbed, I just wanna the day I, the second I die, I just wanna do like a replay of my life and just say like, you know what, I did it all. I just want to leave everything on the table. So be on the best, be in the best physical shape as possible. Have a big family. Being able to take care of as many people as possible, and influence the world. Those are the few things that I look for when I'm in my deathbed.
And where can people find you?
Obviously on TikTok at your boy Guti, on Instagram at your boy Guti, and soon on Guti and the Hitman podcast that's
I
gonna be
can't wait
released
to
this
listen
month.
to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a lot of promotion for that this month. So yeah,
Let me know. I'll put it in the show notes. But thank you so
perfect.
much, my man. Appreciate you. It's always amazing to hear your progress.
Thank
I,
you.
I love that you were my first person that I interviewed for this podcast. I love it. I'm wishing you the best of luck, man.
Thank you, man, and the same thing for you, man. Appreciate you calling me to the podcast, and yeah, thank you, man.
Great. Hey, Dream Makers, thank you for listening to another episode of Dreamers University. Today, I had a good friend with me. His name is Guti. I've known Goody for the past few years. I interviewed him for my podcast, Teenage Impact. He was also in my book, Never Fight Alone. And just to see his physical, financial, mental transformation these past few years have been amazing. He started in this personal development journey when he was about three or 400,000 followers into TikTok. And to see him lose 40 pounds, to see him dress differently, talk differently, I really respect that. He talked about discipline, and he talked about the three steps to building discipline. Number one, you have to find your why. What is going to drive you? Is it going to be your family? Is it money? Is it doing something great in your life? Is it traveling? You must find your why, because on your hard days, your why is what is going to push you to work harder. Number two is you must you must push your mind to do the things that you don't want to do. We've all been there where after work or when we wake up, we don't feel like going to the gym. Or sometimes we have a podcast episode to shoot, but we don't feel like doing it because we're tired. Or maybe we have to make a few sales calls, but we don't feel like doing it because we're afraid of rejection. You have to push your mind to do the things that you don't want to do, because when you do that, eventually you're going to build your confidence, and eventually you're going to find your success. Number three is have fun. Your journey to success doesn't have to be boring. You don't have to put this unnecessary pressure on yourself to succeed, because when you're on this journey to success and you're putting all this pressure on you, then it's not going to be fun. When you have fun, you win, because you're having fun along the journey and you're getting one step closer to your dreams and your goals. Goody also talked about building your social media presence. He calls it the REE method. Well, I kind of made that up, but he talks about in order to build your TikTok or social media influence, you must have relatability. You must be able to relate to the people that you're talking to. Second thing you must do is entertainment. It's not enough to be relatable. It's not enough to be educational. You must entertain your audience members. And number three, you must put effort. In the beginning, you may not have the equipment. In the beginning, you may not have the money to do all these fancy little shoots. But the more effort you put into your TikTok channel or YouTube channel or any type of social media channel, the more results you're going to get. But don't let effort stop you from putting content out there, because in the beginning, you're going to look at your content and you may not like it. You may not like the sound of your voice. You may not like what you did a few times, and you do a few shoots and it takes you days and weeks to put your first video out there. Goody suggests that don't strive for perfection, strive for consistency. Put as much content out there as possible. Don't try to be perfect all the time. Don't try to be pretty, and just see what works and what doesn't work. And eventually you can go all in into what works. Thank you for listening to another episode of Dreamers University. You can find me at Shelomo Solson on Instagram. Go ahead, DM me. Let me know what type of topics you want me to talk about. Let me know what type of interviews you want me to do. Let me know what I can do better. Let me know what you like about the podcast, what you don't like about the podcast. I'm always striving to get better so I can bring quality content to you. You can also find Dreamers University on TikTok. Is at Dreamers underscore University. Go ahead, rate and review Dreamers University on Apple Podcast. I'm trying to impact as many people as possible.